Hello, it's just me again here with a weekly message for you. So, all being well, and it's slightly up in the air because of restrictions and rumours of new restrictions. I am booked to be on holiday next week. Hopefully, do some cycling and some walking in the Forest of Bowland. As I say, all a bit uncertain at the moment. And the week after that will be the first sort of holiday since the schools have been back. It'll be a half term for most schools the week afterwards. I want to think a little bit about holidays because I think lockdown has made me think about them, and maybe it has done for you as well. So to start with the kind of religious connection, which is quite obvious, which is that the word holiday is of course the word holy day, and one of the things that you might remember from Reformation history is that in the Reformation we cut down a lot of the saints, and one of the arguments is, of course, there were too many saints. They were always almost inventing new saints, too many of them, too much about the saints, and Protestants wanted to get rid of that. But of course, the saints had an important sort of social function because basically what tended to happen, and this was one of the arguments for trimming them, was that if it was a festival, particularly of a sort of saint who was revered locally or something, it would say, oh, well, it's, we can't work today. It's a holy day. It's a holiday because it's St. X or Y's day. And so that was why there were so many of them, because people kept wanting to have holy days, holidays. And, for those of historians who believe that somehow sort of the rise of Protestantism and capitalism go together, this was one of the factors, that it was people saying, hang on, you can't have all these holidays, all these holy days. Let's get rid of a few of those saints. So that's a bit of the kind of social history of holidays or holy days. Now, of course, we've probably lost the connection. We just think of a time that we're not working, a time of leisure. Now, I've been thinking quite a lot about retirement recently. Some of you will be retired. And the reason is, for me, not because it's imminent, but because I think when you are working and when you're busy, etc., you then have a holiday, and your holiday is a complete contrast from work. If you have few weeks a year, you'll tend to use those places. You will look for times to utterly relax, to wind down. I would always like to sort of go away, self-catering somewhere, often in this country, and just walk, read, and do very little. But a couple of things have made me wonder whether, when I retire, because we often think of retirement as, I'm sorry to those who are retired, and the whole point of this is it's not like that. But one of the things that perhaps we think about retirement is just imagine our holidays going on forever. And of course, some of the mistakes sometimes people make is to perhaps move to the place that they've loved on holiday, but then find getting through January and February there isn't quite as much fun as when they went there in August for the summer beachside holiday. But a couple of experiences have made me think about that. I say not because retirement's imminent, but because I had a sabbatical a couple of years ago when, 3 months, okay, I was doing various things, but the day-to-day tasks of parish ministry disappeared. And that's a great privilege. And then, of course, to be honest with you, lockdown. Now, we are quite busy now. We've done quite a lot of stuff, but of course there have been periods, particularly early on when the lockdown was very strict, when really there was little to do. Frankly, it just wasn't possible to do the normal tasks that I would expect to do. And during those times, it made me sort of think, well, actually, if that were the case long term, if I had retired and there weren't those demands, I'm not sure I would want it to be just one long holiday. And I think, sort of talking with colleagues and also with myself now, as sort of holidays come up, we realise we want a sort of slightly different sort of break. Actually, somehow going away and relaxing, shutting down, getting away from everything, just taking a book and a dog and walking and that sort of thing. You think, well, actually, I've done quite a lot of that over the last few months, say particularly in the early months of lockdown, and perhaps therefore when I come to retire or whatever, that actually that's not so important to me. And it did make me reflect that, of course, we need tasks, we need structure, we need things to do. So, again, coming back to sort of cycling and doing, where was I going? John O'Groats to Land's End this year, and again thinking about how again it slightly hangs in the balance at the moment, but maybe trying to complete that in the next holiday. But it made me think that actually what's kind of been good about that is just apart from the cycling, which is obviously quite hard work, is that you have to do quite a lot of preparation. You've got to sort of plan routes, get supplies, make sure your bike is working, even if it does break down halfway. Places to stay, where you're going to eat, what are the logistics, and actually that sense of kind of having a purpose, a project, whatever you might call it. It's a bit like work. It can be quite busy. I mean, those days, particularly when you're cycling for sort of 8 hours a day, are quite full. Not exactly relaxing. But actually, I realise, you kind of need that sort of thing. So I want to, just think about holidays and holy days and what a holy life might be like. And realizing that, yes, of course, we need time to relax and get away and, turn off and catch up on things like reading a book and getting out into the countryside, etc. But I think that only works in contrast to having a life that's full and has things to do and has sort of projects and aims and goals and all the rest of it. And so I just want to sort of give thanks, really, I suppose, for those things. And now that we're missing them a bit, perhaps, and perhaps now people are, of course, worried about jobs and things, just thinking about how much of a necessity it is for human life that, alongside sort of the financial worries that people are going through, that what work gives you is a kind of an aim, a goal, and a dignity. Now, you can make that in other ways. Of course you can. You don't need to be in employment to do that. But actually, it is something we all need as human beings. So, I rejoice in holidays and holy days, but also remember that actually they come from a break from a life that, and one should give thanks to God for this, that has that sense of direction and purpose. And if people are feeling a bit uncertain about that, then that needs our sympathy and our prayers. Thank you. Cheerio.